Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be taking a look at Keeper of Keys, the one of the newest expansions for Viscounts of the West Kingdom. Their most recent Kickstarter that's being delivered at the moment, along with Gates of Gold and the Collector's Box. So in this video we're going to go over the expansion Keeper of the Keys and show you how to use those elements in the game. Okay, so the two biggest things you'll notice that are added to this expansion are the new player boards, which are in a way dual layered. They basically have the punch outs here for the virtue and corruption tracks, which is nice. But they also have some little cutouts down here for the chest tiles. So you'll see that there are quite a good number of them. And these are a resource you're going to be able to gain throughout the game that's going to give you additional bonuses as your people move across your player board here. So let's look at those real quick. As you gain chest tiles, and the most common way for gaining a chest tile is this symbol here. So when the lender is pushed off the end of your player board here, you can either flip a deed or debt, or you can gain a chest tile. There's always going to be 4 chest tiles up throughout the game. As you remove one will come and take its place. When you claim a chest tile, they don't cost any money. Remember, you simply just gain the symbol. You're going to have to choose where you want to slot them in on the bottom of your player board. And once you slot them in, they're kind of locked in that column for the rest of the game. The only way to get rid of them is to actually get a new chest tile and kick that one off and replace it. So what do these chest tiles provide? Well, they provide a bonus when the particular villager or townsfolk or hero, whoever is in this slot, if the icon matches. So in this instance, this chest is looking for a criminal in this slot. If they do, you're going to gain 1 stone. And this happens during the card management phase. So when a person first moves over from left to right, if they are a criminal, they're going to gain 1 stone. If you do a rearrange action, you're not going to, and you move a criminal into this spot, it's not going to give you a stone. In this instance, however, this one's a little different. If there is someone with a, let's say, fleur-de-lis in this spot, this one doesn't actually give you anything when you first push it over, but instead of using the fleur-de-lis, you could instead treat this 1 fleur-de-lis symbol as 3 trade symbols. This one here is if this is, for example, if an outsider card, so any purple card, which is from the previous expansion, is in this slot, you gain a coin and a virtue. So I'm not going to cover all of what the tiles do. There is a full explanation of them in the rulebook, but that's essentially how you gain and make use of the tiles. Remember, you are looking for matching icons. So remember, for like this one here, when a criminal goes from here to here, you now have a criminal in this column, you're going to gain a stone. Pretty simple. So that's chests that have been added to the game. And there are solo chests. We're going to look at those here in a little bit when we talk about what this expansion has added as far as AI is concerned. The other thing that you'll notice is that they provide new starting player cards. So these are the cards that normally you would shuffle up, you would pair with a hero, and people get to choose them. This is going to provide you your Viscounts starting location as well as your starting resources. These, however, are going to give you the opportunity to start in the middle arc. So the first ones were all whole numbers. These, 9.5, means that on the wedge that has a 9 and a 10, you can start in the interior arc, the one where you would transcribe manuscripts or send workers into the castle. So that would be your starting location. Other than that, for the most part, your starting resources and things are the same. Occasionally you might get one that's going to give you like an outsider card or something like that. So you're meant to just shuffle these up with the rest of the other starting player cards, player reference cards, and if you get one that's a 0.5, you know where to start. The other thing that this expansion adds is 3 new starter deck player cards, townsfolk cards. You'll notice that each of these 3 has a key on them, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the lender, the trader, and the journeyman, and you're going to replace the ones that were originally in your deck. These simply are going to, give you additional bonuses that work with this expansion. So the lender, for example, gives the ability to gain a chest. The trader here, I think, just adds the discard option. That's all he really adds. And then the journeyman gives you the ability, if you want to recruit a hero, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So just know that your kind of starting deck changed a little bit. Simply, these 3 cards replace the exact same 3 cards from your original ones. Just make sure you are using the ones with the key symbol. All right, so as I mentioned just a minute ago, this expansion gives you the ability to gain hero cards. So during setup, you're actually going to, after everyone has drawn their starting hero and added it to their deck, you're going to shuffle them all back into a draw pile here, and you get a whole bunch more heroes in this expansion. You got some heroes in the other expansion as well, but you're actually going to create a little tableau here of 3, similar to the outsider cards, and these can be recruited during the game. Now, the only thing I don't like about this, they have some really nice abilities on the bottom and some icons usually, but they have no recruit bonuses. So take that into consideration. But in order to recruit a new hero throughout the game, you're going to need to look for this symbol here, the green symbol with the hand. That is letting you know that you can, instead of recruiting a worker from inside the round board, you can instead recruit a hero over here. When you do so, they're free. You don't have to pay for them. It's a free action, I guess you can say. So the only reason that there are coins up here in the corner is for Viscount movement once this card is added to your deck and comes out during the card management phase. The other symbol that they've added that's important to note is this symbol here. We talked about this one briefly in the last video with the last expansion, but this one is green. This means that once Delphine here moves off the board, she's actually removed from the game. You're going to take her away. It's almost as if you have destroyed that card, and she's usually giving you those people are usually giving you a pretty powerful bonus. But just so you know, when you see this symbol, that means that card is removed from the game. So you're only going to get that action once, and usually it's at the end, dropping off the board. So if you can do a lot of rearrange actions, keep her on your player board for a while, you don't get the manuscript, but you also don't lose her. You don't lose those 2 symbols. So something, again, to consider. The other set of cards that were added to the game are these 3. It's only these 3. And if you are playing with the public buildings, you are going to take these 3 gray meeples and put them on top of these cards. And essentially what these do is basically just give you a big chunk of end game scoring as well as an ongoing bonus if you can claim them. Only 1 person per game can claim a public building. Once you have built a public building, the card is yours. It can't be swapped or taken away from you. How you do that is that essentially you have already had to have built a building of the same type. Then you make it back around, and if you are in that same location, you can, for this one, it would be 6 build icons plus giving up your building of the same type. It's actually going to go back onto your player board. You get to choose which slot it covers up, but it has to go in the area it was originally from. You'll then just replace your building with this gray one, and claim the card. So it's going to give you an instant bonus. In this case, hire a hero for free. But then this one, for example, gives you an ongoing criminal icon, which is a wild icon, but also, every time you add a criminal to your board, it's going to give you an additional criminal icon to push your corruption. But at the end of the game, it's going to give you buku victory points. So this is a really minor thing. I almost tend to forget that these are over here. If you're playing with the AI, they're going to prioritize getting one of these out on the board. So again, they're going to prioritize, getting their first type of building, and then if they come around and are in a spot with a matching one, and they have the resources, they're going to do it. So it's kind of a race to get to these public buildings first, because once you've built them, you've locked them in, that card is yours. No one can take it away from you. All right, the final thing that we want to cover here with the Keeper of the Keys expansion is what it adds to the solo AI mode. So with the new player boards, the opposite side, just like the original ones, has a specific AI with a specific specialization. This one happens to be the builder specialization. What you'll notice is that the starting slot here, these are all different. Plus, there are some cards here at the bottom that you're going to need to remove from the game. This, again, increases the specialization of the AI and really focuses them even more than previously. So you'll notice that these are both future scheme cards, but you would simply go through, pull out the ones, I'm looking for one cleric icon and one cleric and one fleur-de-lis. So these two I would take and just put back in the box. These are the only future scheme cards I would use during the game. There is also a starting scheme card, apologies, that you're going to add into the mix. The biggest thing is that you'll notice these ones have where they're going to cull some of the chest tiles as well as some of the heroes. That just keeps those tableaus moving, keeps them fresh. Also, it gives them the ability to get their chest tiles. So this is important. There are only 3 solo chests, and it's not very it's not very clear that the difference between them, but if you look at them, there's a very vague difference in the color. This one is brown, this one is gray. It's not very obvious. I don't know why they didn't make it more obvious. As long as these 3 matched and everything else matched, you could have made them all completely different, but they made them super close. Anyways, these 3 are always going to be at the bottom of the solo board at the beginning of the game. You're going to mix them up and shuffle them in there face down so you're not sure which ones are which. When this card comes up and is played onto the board and you get to the bottom, if there are chests face down and you have this symbol, you're going to take the first one to the left and flip it up. Now, in this instance, similar to the player chest tiles, if there is a fleur-de-lis symbol here, all right, we have one, it can also count as a building icon or a manuscript icon. All it does is just diversify their symbols. That's all the solo AIs are. They don't provide anything other than giving you the ability to create more symbols. So as this one pushes down here, a better example would be, for example, this. Well, that's not a great example. Let's pick this one here. This one is just a straight building icon. And is useful when you get to the bottom of this card because you're going to take a building action. But let's say we're pushing down here and the next card that comes out, and we pushed it all the way over here. Yeah, we need to do that. We pushed it all the way over here, and now the AI is taking the place workers in the castle action. So it's looking for fleur-de-lis symbols. Well, normally, originally, this would have just been a build icon and it would have been worthless. This symbol would have been worthless. But if the AI has been able to flip over all 3 chest tiles, this one hammer now counts as all 3. So this now becomes 1, 2, 3 fleur-de-lis symbols instead of previously just 2. Chest tiles, I didn't mention this earlier, but chest tiles are going to all give you victory points at the end of the game based on how many you have in the set. So if you have 1, 2, or 3 in your possession, you're going to gain 2, 5, or 9 victory points. But that is really all that's added as far as solo AI is concerned. I do appreciate that they didn't really throw a wrench in the whole AI system because it's very straightforward. The only thing you have to keep up with is paying attention to whether or not you're gaining additional symbols because of the chest tiles at the bottom. Other than that, the AI system is as pure and clean as it always was. They just added that one starting scheme card in that gives them the ability to flip these chest tiles over. Other than that, solo stays the same, stays excellent in my opinion. I absolutely love the Garfield Games' AI system and the way they work. Very clean, works really well. Anyways, I'm going to get off that soapbox. That's going to do it for our Keeper of the Keys expansion overview. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.